Hi there, this is Mrs McTaggart. In this video we're going to be dividing fractions. Now this video is actually appropriate for National 5 level as a little recap and for 4th level students. Prior knowledge to this is you should be able to convert mixed to improper fractions. So a quick recap of that just before I go. I use the mantra big times bottom plus top. It makes the pupils laugh because I say big bottom, but it also helps. So you do the whole number times the bottom number, and what you're effectively doing there is working out, in this example, how many quarters would be in the full 4 cakes. So we do 4 times 4, add on the 1. So just to write down what I mean, we're doing 4 times 4, add on the 1. We're talking quarters, so it's all over 4. This gives me 17 over 4. For my second one, I do big times the bottom, so 5 times 3, add on the 2, also 17, but this time over 3. And my last one, 3 times 8 is 24, add on the 7 gives me 31 over 8. So you need to be good at that skill because that's the step 1 for most of the questions today. So before I step in and tell you the rule, I want to just try and help you explain why we do what we do. So 3 divided by a half. Now, I'm going to show you what that means visually. So 3 divided by a half means I've got 3 full cakes here and I cut them into halves. Right? Now, how many halves have I got there? 3 divided by a half, well, that means that I can give a half to 6 different people. So 3 divided by a half is 6. Now, there is another sum in maths that gets you 6. 3 times 2 also gives you 6. Now, that 2 can also be written as 2 over 1. Can you see what's happened here with these two fractions? A half is the same as 2 over 1. 2 over 1 is the same as a half, but flipped upside down. And my divide sign was changed to a sign. Now, dividing by a half is the same as basically timesing by 2. And the rule is when you've got a divide by a fraction is whatever my fraction that I'm dividing by, we can just flip it upside down and turn it into a times sign sum. Okay? Here is the rules, and this is a bit I would get you to copy down if you were doing this as a note. Always make your questions top heavy first. Rule number 1, you cannot divide the whole numbers. Okay? They have to be top heavy or improper fractions to use the correct terminology. Step 2 is flip the second fraction and change it to a multiply. But I have this little mantra which I much prefer and it works really well. Keep it, change it, flip it. Some teachers might call it KFC to help you remember it. K for keep, F for flip, and C for change. I can't fit that in, but we get the idea. So you'll hear me in every example from here on saying keep it, change it, flip it. And it helps you just remember what to do with each of the 3 parts to the question. So here is question 1. 4/5 divided by 1/3. So we keep the first one, we change the sign in the middle, and we flip the end one to 3 over 1. So we've kept it, changed it, flipped it. And then it just becomes a multiplication sum, so anything in the previous lesson that you would have done can be done here again. There's nothing that cancels diagonally if you use the kind of karate chop diagonal cancel method. So we just do top times top. 4 times 3 is 12, 5 times 1 is 5. So the answer is 12/5. And I like to leave my questions top heavy because why bother changing them into mixed when you don't have to in the exam. However, if you did want to do that here, 12 divided by 5 is 2. So technically you have 2 and 2/5 left over. But I am not going to do that in any of my other ones, okay? Next question, 3/4 divided by 5/6. So we keep the first one, we change the sign, and we flip the second one. Keep it, change it, flip it. Now, nothing. Oh, there is something cancelled in this one, so let's do the cancelling method this time. So the 6 and the 4 are both diagonal and they both divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So the sum becomes 3 times 3 on the top, which is 9. 2 times 5 on the bottom, which is 10. Now, it's perfectly okay if you had wanted to go on this one and make it 18 over 20. But just be aware that that does still simplify back down to 9 over 10. So 9 over 10 is my final answer here. Next one, we have mixed fractions. So step 1 was to always make it top heavy. So we're going to do big times the bottom is 8, add on the top is 9. So 9 over 4 divided by, now notice I'm not changing it or anything just now. I have to make it top heavy before I can go on and do that. I do 1 times 5 is 5, add on 1 is 6. So 6 over 5. And then we can do the steps where we keep it. Change it to a times sign and flip it to 5/6. Now, looking for something that cancels diagonally, the 9 and the 6 are both in the 3 times table. So 9 divided by 3 is 3, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and the sum becomes 3 times 5 on the top, 4 times 2 on the bottom, and I'm leaving it as 15/8. Alternatively, remember, you could have said, oh, there's 45/24, and it's then up to you to spot that as a 3 times table, which would take you back to the same final answer of 15/8. So you choose which method that works for you. Sometimes you don't spot the cross cancelling. Other times you're definitely looking for it because the numbers are too big for you to want to do it mentally. My final example, let's look at this one. So big times the bottom, 2 times 3 is 6, add 2 is 8, so 8/3, divided by, big times the bottom is 15, add 1 is 16, so I've got 16/5. So then we keep the first fraction, keep it, change it to a times and flip it. So 8 times 5, 3 times 16 is one option, but I can spot things that cancel. 8 and 16 are both in my 8 times table, so 8 divided by 8 is 1, 16 divided by 8 is 2. And that leaves my question as, top line, 1 times 5 is 5, 3 times 2 is 6. But remember, you could have gone the alternate route and done 40/48, and then spotted that that is your 8 times table and still get back to a final answer of 5/6. Thanks very much for watching. I hope this has helped. Bye-bye.